So this rotary hook, after stripping the covers, look at the bottom. Boom, look at that. Look at all the thread that has wrapped itself around there. This is not uncommon at all, okay? For a thread to get caught down there and then the machine to keep turning and wrap a bunch of it under there before it actually breaks off. The sewing person may not even know. They just know that all of a sudden their thread broke and they have to rethread the machine. And then they'll keep sewing to work on their project. So we're going to go ahead and remove that thread lock by grabbing onto the thread and then turning the handle in reverse motion to get that off of there. Okay, and now we can see kind of some of the parts of this machine. This is the basket right here where this pin is. The basket is where the bobbin case plugs in. Alright, so we'll take a look at that, how the bobbin case plugs into that pin and snaps into place. The bobbin case actually loads into the basket. The hook is what rotates around the basket. Okay, and there's our hook tip right here. These little cutouts right here are actually oil reservoirs. They help keep oil in the race and keep that lubricated while it spins. Alright. This is our position finger up in here. See that bracket, and it's holding that finger in right there? Couple things about the position finger is that it braces the basket so the basket can't turn. And this position finger has a leaf spring, that silver leaf spring that's wrapped around the position finger that allows for the basket to play back and forth. And you'll see that leaf spring moving around. That allows for some deflection and play. Alright, if it was just a solid piece right there, it would get worn away very quickly, it'd get beat up very quickly, but this is a leaf spring that's actually been polished too. You can see how shiny this is around this area here. And that's so that when the loop lift happens, or when the thread travels around this and goes up into the fabric, it passes past that polished piece very nicely. And this piece doesn't wear out or get grooves in it as easily as the metal over here. See that? Really easily grooved. Whereas this over here is polished and it does not scratch nearly as easy. So thread can pass through there over and over and over and over again, not create a problem. Okay, so just some components. We have a drive gear and a hook gear. And these are beveled teeth. These teeth are at an angle, so when they turn, it drives the hook in a rotary direction. Okay, so we've got the hook timing, which is how the hook spins. Then the hook spacing, as far as how close up and down it is. You'll also notice that the position finger has a gap in here from the hook to where the position finger is. And that gap is actually for thread to pass. And you can see I can actually put my screwdriver right in between there. That's necessary, but that position finger also keeps that from rotating on either side. But look, on the bottom, you'll see there's a gap right there. That's the spacing of the position finger. Roughly, that's 1/2 millimeter. That's what your spacing should be on a position finger. There's a special gauge for that. You can also kind of eyeball it and see what 1/2 millimeter is. Once you work on sewing machines for a while, you get to know what 1 millimeter and 1/2 millimeter is pretty much regularly. Okay, so if you time a machine, you have to take into account on a rotary hook the spin of the hook and the up and down. Okay, as far as the clearance and where the needle comes in, where the hook tip comes in at the scarf of the needle. As far as where this goes, so we're going to take a top view down so we can see. And to see a little bit better, we're going to go ahead and remove pressure bar screw. We'll get rid of this guy. Now we can see while the machine is in time, the hook passes by the scarf of the needle in the middle, like right at the top of the needle. Okay? Now, when the machine is doing a zigzag stitch, or let's just look at when it is all the way over to the left and the hook goes down, the hook tip comes in right above the eye of the needle. Okay, so pretty close to the eye of the needle. Alright, so now we're going to look at the far right side where the hook tip comes in a little bit earlier. See how early that is. Coming in now, that there's going to be a rise. Needle will rise out, and there's our eye of the needle. So it's important that the hook tip comes in behind the eye of the needle. But what's really important is that the needle bar actually raises slightly. It'll actually ascend. And when it ascends out of the fabric, that creates the loop lift for the hook tip to grab the loop on the back of the needle and bring it around the bobbin. So then the take-up arm will do its job to tie the stitch and pull it up into the fabric. And then the feed teeth move the fabric back as well as part of the process of tying a lock stitch. Okay? That's what hook timing is, and essentially how a stitch is created.